Let me ask you, first of all, about the chances for a Schultz comeback, because it wasn't too long ago that the SPD and the CDU were running neck and neck. His lead evaporated, seemingly for no one solid reason. Could Angela Merkel's lead do the same?
Thank you for having me today, Matt. That's a really interesting scenario, because it's true. At the beginning of the year, Martin Schulz seemed to be catching up and, in fact, was neck and neck with Angela Merkel's CDU party. But in the past few months, she has surged ahead in the polls. Okay, albeit her popularity rating has dropped a bit, but she still has a majority within the German population. But the CDU is clearly about 12 points ahead. And I would say there's a couple of things that factor into this. One would also be the election in the U.S. I think that the election of President Trump was sort of an antidote for Angela Merkel to help her gain popularity again in the German electorate, because she is seemingly a calm within the storm that's going on within Europe and across the Atlantic.
Why isn't, I mean, Germany is a very large and rich country relative to other European nations, but the German worker, his average income is not high compared to other European nations. Isn't this the perfect country to talk about, you know, people who've been left behind by globalization? I mean, isn't this the perfect country to talk about a populist victory, and it's seemingly one of the only things we're not worried about here.
And in fact, I mean, Germany was a victim, like the other European democracies, with a populist fringe movement. The AfD was, you know, scoring in the double digits just about a year ago, or even during the height of the refugee crisis in 2015. But they've also lost, the AfD has lost its lead and is down to maybe 8%, like the Greens and the FDP. You would think so, but I think all these issues are under the surface. I mean, right now, her slogan is, let's not rock the boat. Things are going very well for us. But there are some deep problems, whether it's demographic changes, the integration of the refugees, as you mentioned, the salaries that are not really on par with what other countries in the European Union are at. And this is a criticism that other countries say. The Germans need to spend more. And if salaries were increased, perhaps the Germans would spend more.
Sudha, good morning. Guy from London. What does this election mean for the relationship that is going to develop between Paris and Berlin? And what will that relationship do to the future of the European Union?
Good morning, Guy. That's a great question. I think for the past couple of years, Germany has had this uncomfortable position of being the de facto leader in Europe. Many other countries or many other people would scratch their heads and say, well, isn't it great to be the leader? But to some extent, German politicians still feel uncomfortable being called a leader of Europe. And this has also been the case because France has been relatively weak over the past few years. With Macron in charge right now, there's now hope that France will gain its mantle in, or gain back its mantle in driving further European integration and work alongside Germany to make the EU stronger. And I think you could see that, you know, Macron is somebody that would like to play an important role on the international stage. We saw how he invited Donald Trump to Paris over Bastille Day, and one could say he's looking to maybe replace the role that Angela Merkel has played for the past couple of years, and I think people here in Berlin would actually welcome that.